Industry Champions. I'm your host, Chris Budihas, and joining me from Massachusetts is Kirstin Martin with DBA GLOBOND Financial. Kirstin, how are you?
I am doing great now that you're here, Chris. Thank you so much for this wonderful
Stop
invitation.
it. You're going to make me blush. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on Industry Champions. Very interested to know what DBA GLOBOND Financial does. What is the company and how do you do what you do?
Thank you for asking, Chris. And you may or may not know this, but the average American has over $100,000 in debt.
Jeez.
And only 30% of us have more than $1,000. This is shocking in a bank account.
Oh my gosh.
And only 25% of us have like $10,000 in savings. So the harsh reality is that makes retirement, and then not to mention the American dream, like attainable for most people. And so before COVID, I had my own company. It was a business development, marketing, PR. And two of my clients just decided not to pay me $75,000 for services I'd already given them. And that's when I found out that even though I had an MBA and I was the president of my own company, I was 2 clients away from total financial disaster.
Wow.
Okay, so I entered the life insurance sector kicking and screaming, not even wanting anything to do with it, but I didn't want to sell cars and I needed to make money. But 5 years later, I'm really proud to say that I'm a wealth strategist, and I'm actually becoming very wealthy for the first time. I used to make other people a lot of money. I would have ups and downs, but I actually now have a wealth strategy, and I work with over 50 of the top most established financial service companies in the United States. And this gives me access to top tier resources and information and tools that enable anyone of any age. And this is true. Anyone, Chris, can be financially independent and even create generational wealth, which is like a buzzword. It's possible, but you have to actually have a strategy. And you have to believe in it, and you have to have people that kind of keep telling you, yes, you can do it. So I'm a wealth strategist with a life insurance license and an MBA.
Oh, that's beautiful. And I appreciate it. So I was lucky when I was young, in my early 20s, believe it or not, that was a while ago, that somebody grabbed me and said, hey, I'm going to take you down to my financial advisor, and I want you to have a conversation with them. And I sat down. I was 25 years old, newly married, one child on the way. And we had a conversation about whole life insurance. Then we talked about a mutual fund. We talked about an IRA. And I was lucky, right? Because I was unusual. Of course, at 25 years old, I'm like, do I really need to get a whole life insurance? Well, I tell you, later on, 3 decades later, I'm glad I got that price locked in back then compared to now. So somebody like you... Yeah. So, but I think I'm not normal in some cases. So for our audience, why should somebody, when 35 and younger, come to somebody like you, Kirstin? Why should they come to you?
You know what? I'm going to actually use you as a story now for all these 20-year-olds in my life that I'm struggling with that issue. So you already know this. You asked me a rhetorical question, but first of all, when you're 25, you look great now, Chris. But when you were 25. You're further away from your mortality, right? And you're, as healthy and as young as you're going to be. And that enables you to lock in the lowest cost of insurance with whole life. It allows you to not ever have that premium go up, right? It's guaranteed. And you have a lot of time to grow that money. And as you know, whole life, and nowadays with whole life participating, I'd love to look at your policies and see if you can even turbocharge them even more. But whole life, it has compound interest, right? And it's tax-free when you own it to yourself. So it's kind of like, why wouldn't you have it if you're, in your 20s? And if someone cannot afford right now the premium for whole life, which by the way, when you do the math, it actually ends up, if you lower your death benefit, you can actually get whole life that seems to be as inexpensive as even term life, as crazy as that sounds. But if somebody doesn't have the resources right now, to do what you did. I mean, you were a homeowner, married, you were like way ahead, but people who don't have a big budget, they can get like a 20-year convertible term. And then when they have more money, they can convert that term into permanent insurance. And I'll say one more thing, even though I try to kind of avoid the term life insurance and talk about wealth strategy. I have one 35-year-old in my life, Chris, that I got a very, very inexpensive $1 million policy with full living benefits. And he kept letting it lapse because 35, he's young, he eats well. He was making $15,000. $15,000 a month painting cars. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he let it lapse. The third time he let it lapse, they found a brain aneurysm, and he's critically ill right now. He cannot work. Had he kept his life insurance policy with me, he would have $800,000 in his hand, tax free.
Wow.
But because he was concerned about the $65 a month, I would love to pay $65 a month for $1 million. But my point is, so there are two answers to that question, is that, you're planning for your future self, right? And right now your present self is young and healthy, and you're locking in that health at that age. But the second thing also is the earlier, and I want to come put it back to you, like, what are the benefits that you've had from starting early, from, having a house and getting whole life insurance? Like, what are the things looking back? You're like, wow, I'm so glad I did that.
No, I appreciate that question. So for me personally and my wife, the fact that, one, we've locked in a lower rate. So I recently retired last year from 36 years in the military. So looking at a whole life, no, thank you very much. So looking at a whole life term policy at the age, I'm not afraid to say it, at the age of 56 was substantial to what I would be looking at if I didn't get it, if I got it now earlier, it would be gigantic monthly cost, right? And then the other piece of it in my mutual fund IRA, long-term growth, I don't want to brag, but it's looking pretty good. And with the IRA, right? I can, in the mutual fund too, I could, if in an emergency, if I needed the money, I could borrow against it to some extent. So yeah, for me, I've been very fortunate, and I've talked to my children who are in their 20s about doing the same thing, because the figures you discussed earlier are striking. And then I had a friend yesterday on a phone call. We were talking about it. He said, you're 2 bad decisions away from financial ruin. And I think you're correct is the fact that if you're not saving a little bit of money, even if that's $25, $50 a month in some capacity, then you're going to be in trouble. And then ironically, very good friends of our former neighbors, they're from the UK. So yesterday on my back porch, we're talking about their healthcare system, our healthcare system, and then both and then their retirement and pension system, vice ours and our Social Security. And as you know, people who are planning on Social Security being their only retirement income, or the substantial portion of it, are setting themselves up for failure. So having somebody like you, and I love the fact you use the term strategy, because you're looking at it all, and then you're shaping it to the individual based on their personal needs and then their capabilities within whatever career field they're doing and their family structure. Because as you know, and hopefully our audience knows, it's not a cut and paste. It's not a one size fits all.
Well, listen, you and I are kind of the same age. I'm a couple years older. Okay. I would give you one free piece of advice. Whatever you have in your mutual fund, look into fixed indexed annuities.
Yep.
Because as the market goes up, as you know, you get credited. But when the market goes down, you're not going to see any downside at all. So at this age, now that you've gone so far with your mutual funds, look at diversifying or swapping. You can do rollovers with no tax consequences at all. Just my own. I'm always trying to, of course, encourage people to. Not that I want you to work with me, but anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm really hear you. I'm going to go and check out your story. I misspelled your last name. I just came across you the other day. I did not know that you were in the military, but I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, let's continue the conversation offline, and I appreciate what you're doing. And I know that you service clients. We talked off camera, nationally, if not globally. So I'm going to encourage folks to take a look at you and see what DBA, GLOBOND Financial can do for them. Because as I told a number of folks here in the last month, if you don't have a financial advisor, because they do look at the little, like, oh, it's going to cost me this and that. It's going to cost you a lot more because you are not allowing your money to work for you. So Kirstin, how people find you and how they find, GLOBOND Financial?
Thank you. I'm just very open. I'm just going to put my, I partner with an amazing company called Experior Financial Group. They are my IMO.
Excellent. And
so you can reach me at kmartin@experiorfinancialgroup.com. And I have a question for you, by the way. And then my phone number is 917-523-9163. I'm a eyes open to eyes shut kind of person with my business. So call me. If I'm not available, I'll call you back. But Chris, at the end here, because I would love to introduce you to other people, Can you tell me in a sense, why are you doing this? Why are you on the planet? And what are you hoping to accomplish with this?
My purpose, program? I learned, thank you for asking that question. My purpose early on that I learned was to make people and other organizations better versions of themselves. So through my and I'm saying I'm wise, but through my knowledge, my experiences, or just me helping them, hopefully I'm making them a better version. And by doing so, I become a better version of myself that is important to my network of folks, more importantly, my family, and whatever legacy when I leave and they put on my tombstone, hopefully I left a good positive mark on this world.
Well, I really appreciate this. It was such a wonderful invitation. I feel really honored. And I look forward to catching up and getting to know you more in the future.
We'll get offline. Thank you very much, Kirstin. And what we do is take all the contact information. We're going to put it in our show notes and encourage everybody to reach out to you, see what you're doing. And if they can't, make a connection or per se, you're just so booked because of this interview, then go find a financial advisor. I mean, the figures you stated earlier, and I watch the news like everybody else do, and you are one or two bad decisions away from, and sometimes it's not even your decision. Sometimes it's somebody else's decision away from financial ruin, and we never want to see that. So thank you very much, Kirstin. I'll be in touch.
Shout out to Travis and Ann. Your team's amazing too. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. All right. Hey, folks, you like what you heard? Reach out to Kirstin and myself, see what you're doing. Hey, if you don't have a financial advisor, unless you are one, and even if you are one, you probably need to have somebody else helping you have that strategy and put your money to work for you. So I'll see you in our next segment and live with gratitude.